Officer Michael O'Connell stood at a crossroads, the weight of his badge heavier than ever. The flickering neon sign of a downtown liquor store cast long, dancing shadows on the worn pavement. He was staring at a young man, barely out of his teens, cuffed and trembling in the back of his patrol car. This wasn't just another drug bust. This arrest held the key to solving a murder that had shaken the city. The young man, barely old enough to shave, was a low-level drug runner. He was caught red-handed, a bag of weed and a wad of cash stuffed in his pocket. Yet this young man, this scared kid peddling dime bags on a street corner, held crucial information about a brutal homicide that had rocked the city weeks ago. He was a witness, an eyewitness to the cold-blooded murder of a beloved community leader, gunned down in broad daylight. Officer O'Connell knew that if he arrested the young man, the murder case would go ice cold, the victim's family left to grapple with their loss, forever denied closure. The young man's name was Marcus. He was 19, a high school dropout with a record as long as his arm. Possession, petty theft, vandalism, a litany of offenses born from poverty and lack of opportunity. But Officer O'Connell had seen something in Marcus's eyes, a flicker of regret, a longing for something more. He saw potential in Marcus, a spark of goodness buried beneath layers of hardship and bad decisions. He saw a young man who, with the right guidance and support, could turn his life around. He imagined Marcus graduating high school, maybe even going to college, getting a real job, making his mother proud. But those possibilities, those glimmers of hope, seemed to slip away with every passing moment. The weight of the unsolved murder pressed heavily on Officer O'Connell's mind. He could still see the victim's face, etched in his memory. Mr. Davis, a pillar of the community, gunned down in broad daylight. He had dedicated his life to uplifting the neighborhood, giving kids like Marcus a fighting chance. The thought of Mr. Davis's killer roaming free, justice denied, filled Officer O'Connell with a simmering rage. He knew that Marcus held the key to solving the case, to bringing closure to a grieving family and a community terrorized by violence. The young man had witnessed the murder, had seen the killer's face, but fear kept his lips sealed. Officer O'Connell understood the law of the streets, the swift and brutal retribution for snitches. Marcus was caught between a rock and a hard place, his life in danger, regardless of his decision. The detective in charge of the murder investigation had made it clear: no witness, no case. Justice versus mercy, a delicate balance. The weight of his decision settled upon Officer O'Connell's shoulders like a physical burden. He felt the pressure from all sides, the victim's family demanding justice, his superiors urging him to close the case, and his own conscience wrestling with the consequences of his actions. He thought about the oath he had taken to serve and protect, to uphold the law without fear or favor. He thought about the victims, both the murdered and the young man caught in the crosshairs of fate. He knew that arresting Marcus would be the easy way out, a clear-cut case of law enforcement. But it would come at a steep price, sacrificing the chance to bring a murderer to justice and condemning a young man with potential to a life behind bars. The ripple effect of choice. The more Officer O'Connell considered his options, the more he realized that this decision extended far beyond the immediate case. It was about the kind of police officer he wanted to be, the kind of city he wanted to live in. Did he want to be part of a system that perpetuated the cycle of poverty and incarceration? Or did he want to be an agent of change, a beacon of hope in a community ravaged by crime and despair? Arresting Marcus might bring a sense of closure to one family, but it would also perpetuate the cycle of despair that plagued so many young men like him. On the other hand, choosing compassion, giving Marcus a chance at redemption, could have far-reaching consequences. It could inspire trust between the police and the community, fostering an environment where witnesses felt safe coming forward, where young people believed in the possibility of a better future. Join the conversation. What would you do? Officer O'Connell stood at the crossroads, the weight of his decision heavy on his heart. He knew that there was no easy answer, no perfect solution that would satisfy everyone. He had to choose between his duty to enforce the law and his desire to see justice served, between his responsibility to protect the innocent and his belief in the power of redemption. What would you do if you were in Officer O'Connell's shoes? Would you prioritize the arrest of the young drug dealer, upholding the letter of the law even if it meant sacrificing the murder investigation? Or would you choose compassion, hoping that giving the young man a second chance would lead to the capture of the murderer and a chance at a brighter future for Marcus? Subscribe to Bright Minds for more thought-provoking stories and discussions about the complexities of life, justice, and the choices we make.